You are listening to Battles with Bits of Rubber. It's a podcast about making prosthetics. Now, there may be some chemistry involved, but not much. I'd like you to respect that if that's the case. Anyhow, here's the episode.
So, what shall we talk about?
There are so many things to talk about. The one that's on the top of my head is this beautiful,
Bless you.
this beautiful creature here. Reach behind me and bring this black wolf head that has been spectacularly flocked with varying lengths of black fur and flocking. First time?
That was the first time, yeah.
I hate your guts.
There was
get
an
a nice
awful lot
photo
of
of that.
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
There's a lot of procrastination beforehand, of course.
Yeah, flocking is one of those things it really makes a big difference to some things. I remember them doing it on some bodies on Saving Private Ryan for the shaved heads for the background guys. And it's so quick and easy and it looks good. But it's not, you don't see a lot of it, really. I don't think.
Well,
Maybe you do and you don't notice.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? If you notice it, then it's not very good, is it? Yeah. But no, I like it. I think it's a really nice, quick way of doing first
I've only
stuff.
ever done it with really, really fine stuff. You know, like kind of the stuff that they do dashboards
Yeah.
with. It's almost like just like velvet fuzz, but this is like 4, 6, 10 millimeter lengths.
Yeah. It's funny because the guys next door actually build vintage rally cars. So I've actually flocked all their dashboards for them as well.
Oh, nice.
So, because they fabricate all the interiors and whatnot, so they keep coming in with these random pieces of folded metal. They're like, can you flock that for us? I was like, yeah, no, it's not a problem. But that's then when you use the half mil stuff and it comes off, it looks like velvet.
Yeah.
It's ever so nice. So obviously
I
no
don't
good
know
for
where to get longer fibers in the States without having to get it and cut it myself,
Maybe
which
a
is a
listener
pain
will
in
be
the
able
ass.
to message you with a supplier.
That would be great, and then we could put that up with the notes.
Yeah, because that's good. We got Minky, which is in Austria.
Yeah,
And
that's what
they
I
ship
got.
over.
I bought one of those, I think back in 2008 when I was over here for a show.
Yeah.
But, I've seen people use the little flock. It's the same concept that you can get for doing grass and weeds for model railroad setups.
It's all the same stuff. I mean, there's different types of, there's different materials, isn't there? Flocks made out of, all different types of plastic
rayon,
fibers.
Rayon fibers.
Yeah.
And I've noticed some of them, they ball up better as well. The stuff that Titanic used to sell, I think that was the rayon stuff. And it
balls up,
It balls up. So which if you're using it to add to silicon, you need to kind of sift it first. Otherwise it kind of clumps together and it looks nicer as a flock, but just in silicon, it can be a bit tricky. But
No, especially when you've mixed it and you think it's fine.
And
because you put your pigment in, it's relatively opaque and you don't notice until you pull the piece out and all of a sudden it's got a
You also have
giant
to be
red
careful
spot.
because it'll settle.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've found a lot with flocking in pieces, I love putting flock in prosthetic pieces because it gives you that diffusion in the pigment. It doesn't look like rubber. You get all your capillary colours in there and stuff. But you're right. Not so much as it sinks, but it can float to the top of the edge.
Yeah.
So I found it where you've got a lovely touchdown cap plastic edge. All of a sudden it's ruined because you've got all this blue, yellow, red and brown flocking, which is basically like someone's put a crayon around the outside.
Yeah, or if you vent bleed holes, it can collect around like spaghetti around a drain hole, plug hole. That's no good. You were the one that I've discussed this a number of times, and I use it as an example when I'm talking about silicon pigmenting to students. Because I remember the Age Maker did I think it was a prosthetics event, probably pre-COVID.
Yeah,
it was an old Age Maker
Aston.
we did.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at it, and there was something about it that I really struck me. And you hadn't painted it yet, and I could see all the textures. And you were like, "It's because it's got a lot of pigment in it, and most people make their pieces too translucent."
Light passes through.
And it's a really simple thing to point out, but it's the stuff that shows up your sculpt. Because a lot of people, I think, make their pieces too translucent then you don't see the sculpt. Then they overpaint trying to put back the forms that they have.
And it sits on top, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's not about the color; it's the density of the color. It's how much of that color is in it.
Yeah,
so it's not too waxy.
Well, the thing is, I suppose if you make your piece too translucent, it's a bit of a cheat because it then blends into the skin easier because the color from the skin starts to show through the piece. So therefore, the transition from the piece to the skin is there's less of one. You know what I mean? It's a gradual thing. But no, if you make your piece more opaque, then the light can bounce off it because skin's not really translucent, is it?
It's just a bit, but not that as much as most people
tiny.
Make it.
Yeah. It's not see-through, and that's the problem. And if you put all your texture into your sculpt, you should be able to see it the same way you can see skin pores and wrinkles.
Yeah,
because you can see them. Therefore, the light only passes through a little bit, and your piece should be the same.
Yeah, and you've got that, like you said, it's the people might hear that and go, "Oh, so there's a better chance of blending. Why wouldn't I do that?" It's like, because it looks like dog shit.
Yeah, but that's
when it moves away from the edge. Because then it looks wrong when you paint it, and also when you light it, it will bounce off the skin in a way it doesn't bounce off the piece.
Absolutely. I mean, it's robbing Peter to pay Paul, isn't it? All you're doing is you might fix one problem or one thing that you think you might struggle with. It might fix that. However, it opens you up to a different problem in a different area. So the trick is just get good at doing it properly the first time, and then that's that. But
stop being shit.
Not stop being shit, but know where your shortcuts are. Yeah. Know where you can get away with stuff, and don't just go, oh, if my piece is translucent, then I haven't got to paint it much, or you're not going to see where the skin starts and the piece finishes. Just that's a different skill set, isn't it?
Well, I think part of the thought process, I think, well, if I make it more translucent, then more of the natural skin color is going to come through the piece, and that's, yes, and but no,
but you have color right at the top of your skin, not 2 millimeters below it.
Right.
It's the same with clear Bondo. I don't see the point in clear Bondo pieces.
Yeah,
your skin's not clear.
No.
So.
And it's fine if you're dumping a load of colour over the top because you're
or a load of blood and whatnot. But
but foundation. But again, you don't want that foundation thing. And that's something I've noticed a lot where students start painting skin. They go for a natural 1 or 2, and they'll go with a lot of that to make it opaque. And then the skin that's next to it that doesn't need colouring is different quality to the flat surface.
The whole point of Skin Illustrators and other brands are available, obviously, is that you're not to paint a piece with them, are you? You're supposed to put the colour. I don't know, it doesn't sound right, but it's not a paint job, is it?
It's more of a finish,
tweaking.
Yeah, it's you're adding the colour because your piece is going to be one shade throughout, where our face or our arm or our chest, wherever it is you're putting it, isn't. It's browner in areas, it's redder in areas, it's paler, it's darker and whatnot, and the illustrators are there to punch those areas up. It's not to complete. It's not like painting foam. No. You don't need that much, or you shouldn't be putting that much paint down and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh God, I've had students borrow some in classes, use some of my palettes to paint stuff, and I get it back, and the fucking things are. Where did it all go?
Yeah, you've just got little red corners,
and everything's so pasty. No, you don't don't make it opaque.
No. I like to keep my colours. I mean, the lovely thing is there's 2 palettes out now. I say now, they've been out a while now, which are my now absolute favourites to go to, and those are the washes palettes from illustrators. Duncan Jarman's done a lovely one with amazing colours, and also Bill Corso's done one as well called Character Contour. I think it's called that. I'll show you.
The Character Contour is lovely.
But they're all taupe-based colours, and they're really earthy, and but that works for me particularly because, again, I like to use very light washes of colour.
Well, I want my colour to come through. That's the way it should be. I don't want to put a big thing down. You build up layers of things, and that's the only way to paint foam is because it's opaque to begin with.
And I always try. I'm not the best painter. Don't get me wrong. There's people probably will listen to this and go, "What's he on about?" But I also try and only paint darker colours. I don't like putting the light colours on the top because then I believe. Because if you have to put a lighter colour on the top, you have to make it opaque because otherwise you won't see the light colour, and therefore then that sits on the top and you end up with this gritty-ish...
Especially if it's very dark skin to begin with, it can look very, very surfacey.
Yeah, you can like this painted concrete-y type thing, but Personally, that's me.
Guilty.
Yeah, well,
but you get that. I've noticed with silicon pigments and a lot of cream makeups is illustrators not so much, but like the yellows, for example, you're doing much darker skin, you might lean toward the yellow, but there's a lot of white in yellow pigments, and so it ends up being very ashy. Whereas yellow flocking, you might use in your silicon, it's translucent, or you need a translucent yellow like the Copic inks. You know, you could use those in there.
Yeah, and they actually taken to silicon really, really well, to be fair. But again, turning back, that's one of the nice things about putting flock in silicon is that you get all that subtlety and that range of color in your pigment. I mean, you take a piece out of a mold that's been flocked or had flocking mixed in with the pigment, and regardless of the issues with rising to edges and stuff, you look at that and it looks like a piece of skin because it's got all that blood underneath it, and you've got the blues in there, and you've got the melamine, I think that's the word for the browns and stuff. It's already there, it's already started. So if you can get a piece out that where the flock's not floated to the edges and whatnot, your paint job's mainly there. Then you just need to, depending on where on the face it goes, if it is the face, add a bit of red, put a bit of shadow in, jobs are good. Make sure the sheen matches the skin, because that's the other thing that throws everything off, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a different quality. It's not just the color, it's the sheen.
It's how the light bounces off it, which again goes full circle into why you've got to get the opacity right to start with.
That was a good thing we noticed on the Colonel Tom Parker makeup, the Elvis that Mark did, and it was like you saw it in so many different lights outside, broad daylight, tight close-ups on an actor we all know very well, very lingering. You can imagine the sort of, you know, the arse-crunchingly fear of those close-ups. And a big part of it was noticing the sheen was spot on. It wasn't matte, because it's a hot, greasy, sunny day. You know what I mean? So you've got to maintain that. And and some of it's skin, and some of it's appliance, and some of it might be a bit of filler. But they've all got the same sheen, and it's something I noticed. It was like, ooh, that's really nice, and it's a quality that is not to do with the color. Yeah, it's something you might consider afterwards. But
that's why they're amazing, because that's like a Mark job with probably Josh doing it, or God knows who else that was applying it on there, but they're top of their game, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a couple of products I've seen that do that. Louvet, Louvet Larson makes the Louvet Shine, or Love Shine, whatever you pronounce it, but that's a nice kind of sheen. And people have been using Pawpaw, that red kind of, it's like a hand cream, and it's sort of greasy, but not too much. I've used that on high points as well, just to kind of catch the light sometimes. Because sometimes I will dry brush appliances with a bit of grease paint to pull up. You're saying about being wary of highlights. I like a little bit of that sometimes, but with something that's not going to interfere with the either Pax or Illustrator.
I know. Don't get me wrong. I do like highlight. I just don't like it in Illustrator.
Sure, you've got to be very wary of them, I think. Because, they can look a bit highlighty, like been applied, rather than that is the colour of the skin.
But no, I do like a bit of dry brushing with a bit of a fard cream as well. That works quite well, because you can then fade it out and stuff, and it sits quite nicely. I mean, fard particularly is good at hiding edges as well, I find.
We got a lot of 3D prints around here. We're looking at these.
We do.
It's become a big part of workshops now. And I kind of feel bad about, we always bring it up, but it's unavoidable. It's really changing everything,
It is part of making prosthetics.
Yeah.
It's undeniable. You can try to deny it, but you'd be wrong.
Because it's such a...
I'm a 3D print denier. It's a conspiracy theory.
It's one of those things, using it wisely as well. And one thing we were talking about was the scanners thing. And I think we both kind of realized, we have this thing where, kind of like they were with cameras, they're trying to push for high resolutions. Everyone's going, oh, this has got a much higher resolution scan. And actually, you want a scan that's accurate.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily need a high resolution scan or an endlessly increasing resolution scan, because it ends up being a huge file size. Then you need a massive compute to do it. Then it just slows the process down. And ultimately, so long as it's an accurate shape, the thing you are going to sculpt over the top, you're going to add the detail to anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't necessarily need the pore texture on the inside of the piece.
No. And at the end of the day, it's just going to, well, as you say, you don't need the pore texture, and equally as well, a smoother core is better.
You mentioned that you might want, it's okay to have some just to give you a sense of direction when you're sculpting.
I mean, it gives you an idea for the, some, depending on the age of the person, will denote, and, their lifestyle, to know how heavy the pore texture is going to be. And depending on how good your scan is, you will get some of that, and it can help you I mean, you'll obviously have your photo reference and
Yeah,
whatnot,
which
but
I think
it can also help you just to know to soften it off and where the pore texture goes and stuff like that. But you don't need pore texture, as it were. You need to
scan.
You need the map of where it's going to be and stuff. But anything beyond that, I mean, superfluous, isn't it?
I think so. It's just from people starting out who might be looking at scanners and printing. The fact is, you just don't need the best of it. You can get a pretty cheap scanner. I'm thinking
you need accurate geometry, accurate landmarks of cheekbones and chin and eyes, eye orbits. And you need the anatomy.
Yeah, and they're the correct scale, which is what these scanners do right. They are the right scale. You don't have to do anything to it. They come out.
It comes down, I think, it comes down to getting the right scanner for the job, for what it needs to do for you. I mean, if what you're doing is trying to recreate a perfect replica to then whatever having online for artwork or to print off, then you need something. For what we need, as you say, something that's going to give us the correct geometry and maybe a hint of where the skin texture goes and various and whatnot. And equally as well, the thing is, as we spoke earlier, I mean, the scanners that we're using, they're bloody good, and you do get an awful lot of information, but they're also easy to use. And I think they're easier to use because they don't get caught up in trying to capture all the detail, all those little things that can stutter a scan or help you lose tracking and things like that.
And to get that detail, you've got to be so close. I mean,
absolutely.
You're scanning, like 3 square inches of the face.
Yeah.
And God, it's going to take fucking forever.
Well, it takes forever. And also as well, by taking forever, a face is never perfectly still. So you're going to move. So you run the risk of it losing tracking. You run the risk of it scanning over itself. So then you get these little steps, these little grid patterns. And if you're trying to scan somebody to get all that detail and all of a sudden you've got this inaccurate pattern on there because the scanner's stuttered or whatnot, you can't use it anyway.
Back to square one.
Yeah. So having the right level of detail that you need for the job is great. Having a scanner that can do it seamlessly is better, because...
And fast.
Exactly.
Fast is better in this.
If you don't have to keep going over the area back and forth, again, less chance of them moving, less chance of them breathing, less chance of their nostrils flaring, them slightly moving their head, their neck.
If you're trying to get an eyes open cast, they're going to blink, move.
You got the blink. It's longer than under the light as well.
Yeah.
Which isn't comfortable.
You've got the different kinds of light as well. I mean, it's nice to discuss this because, again, if there are students who like maybe don't have a scanner that feel like they're getting way left behind, and that everyone's got scanners and it's very, very complicated. And it's like, it's good to say there are there are difficulties, there are things you have to contend with having bought a scanner that you don't learn about until you've got it. So,
no, my first scanner, I bought my first scanner years ago, and it was a Sense 2, and I bought it on eBay for £120, and nobody knows what they are. But it was one of the first, well, it weren't the first because the first was the Sense 1, obviously. But it was a little handheld scanner. It doesn't look that dissimilar. In fact, I've still got it in a drawer at home. And it was dead basic, and it was infrared only, and it was rubbish, don't get me wrong, but it was a toy. It was something to play with. It was, like I said, it was 120 odd quid. But it opened your eyes to what the potential possibilities could be.
It's like those 3D pens.
Oh, absolutely.
That, you can draw a 3D sculpture. That's crap too, but you can use them for other purposes to help blend. We were just talking about this with Sam
great at welding 3D prints together.
Welding prints together.
Yeah, absolutely. But it started, and if I was a student, if I was practicing, I got to be honest with you, I could get a decent enough scan out of that to make a prosthetic.
Sure.
Because it would just soften everything anyway.
Yeah.
You'd be a bit buggered around the eyes and stuff, and the corners of the nose.
You're
and
getting work
whatnot.
at it, so it'll pay for itself.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's only the last couple of years that I've actually invested in the bigger, more professional machines because I'm now finding a use for it. It's a toy. Don't get me wrong, but it's a toy that I can see has practical benefits. I've integrated it into my workflow.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I don't like life casting. Never have. I can do it. I've done it. Don't enjoy it.
Well, I don't think anybody really does. It's time consuming. It's messy. It's potentially dangerous.
Could be. Yeah.
Uncomfortable for I've had repeat customers who I've done casts for different things who will fall asleep.
Yeah.
But for some people, it's a little unnerving for them.
And the thing, when you do live cast somebody and who does struggle with it and they do find it unnerving, it shows in the cast. You know, it doesn't give you, I mean, and that's another thing why I love about scanning is one, I don't have to live cast anymore. It's less messy. It's quicker.
You show up with like not a fucking a trolley full of gear.
Yeah, I mean
a mess.
500 pounds of material.
Yeah,
I did. And 3 assistants.
When we did the second season of Gangs of London, we set up a room down at production in Holborn to do live casting, and it's an office, so I had to plastic everything, take all my, keep a big stock of materials down there and whatnot. Have people down there for a good couple of hours. Well, depend. I'd be there a couple of hours because you'd have to set up in the morning. They'd come in. You'd have to run your cast. You'd have to clean them up. You'd have to clean the room up and whatnot. It was a pain in the backside. Whereas I've just done a job recently where we had 8 actors to scan. It took me 2 hours. They just all turned up, in and out the door, 10 minutes, job done. Thank you very much.
No plastic.
No mess.
And that has a cost, that rolls of plastic are not cheap. And
no physical footprint for it.
There was no physical footprint, absolutely.
Or plaster footprints.
No. But again, we were in somebody else's space.
Yeah.
So it's important to leave it the way you find it, to be honest. And I turned up with a bag and my scanner. I didn't need any help. It was, you could do it the day before, didn't have to worry about if I'd had this in stock or if this has expired or if I had... all the consumables that you'd need. As long as I've got a charged battery on my laptop and all my cables.
Good to go.
Good to go.
And this is
for me, I find that beneficial.
Yeah, of course. And that's why it's inevitable that this is going to increasingly become part of how we do things. And in the past, we would have done live cast because it was the only way of doing it.
Of course.
So we put up with all the distortions and the worries and the nose bruises because we didn't have a choice. And we do what we can to mitigate it. But then when something comes along that's better, it's inevitable it's going to get replaced as a system, and the easier it becomes.
Inevitable step in the evolution. We started out with the algae. I guess originally they just slather plaster directly on the face.
Yeah.
Then it was alginate, and then silicone.
Yeah. But the thing is, as well, you say it's the inevitable thing. I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, I don't think so.
Because you do see some people go, we're losing a tradition, and that's all good. But it's only tradition because there was no better way to do it.
There was a time where it didn't exist either.
Well, exactly. Something always supersedes the previous thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so, yes, there's a massive upfront cost because even when you've got your scanner, it's no good to you unless you can print what you physically scan. So you've got that as well. And then, of course, you need a computer that can run it and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And there's a learning curve. But that's our job anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
We always have to learn how to do these things. And before you do learn how to do them, you can't. And it seems difficult, but... it's just one of those things. It is a tool to be used. It is here. It is beneficial. Why not use it? It's not. I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, especially if you're integrating into your existing workflow, because it just becomes you're going to sculpt something maybe traditionally or digitally or whatever, but you can choose either because you know both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than saying,
right tool for the right job. And you can work that out on your time as well. I mean, your schedule can often denote which way to go.
It's not brain surgery. It's not that difficult to learn. I'm pretty much a Luddite. I hate computers.
Yeah.
I hate them. But, I know how to use them well enough to do what I need to do. I love ZBrush.
Yeah.
I love scanning. I love being able to do all of the stuff, and I don't miss the life casting with silicone or alginate.
You got all sorts of democratizing qualities about it as well. Like, for example, can you imagine doing a scan and then sending that scan to someone like Sebastian to block out?
Yeah.
And then, do you know what I mean? It's just the fact that you can share objects essentially that we produce as a physical object without posting anything.
Absolutely.
Instantly. So you can fragment the job around the world. You can fragment the job around the world.
And think of also as well the carbon footprint that creates if it was to be done physically.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we did that. The last time I did something like that was with Neil Morrow. We did the Normski makeup in 2019, I think it was.
And had to ship the life cast.
I had to ship the life cast. And then I sent the life cast in. Then he sculpted on it. I molded it before I sent it. Then he sculpted it and sent the sculpted pieces back on a foam head. and it was back and forth just to try it out. It's just like, that would be, it's not that it's unthinkable, but it's because the cost of posting things and shipping and fuel has gone up so much. Like, for example, my heating, I look at my accounts. I was doing my accounts a couple of weeks back, and I remember how much it used to be, like 50, 60 quid a month.
Yeah.
Standing charge for it. It's gone up. It's more like 500 a month now. It's gone up 10 times.
Jeez, yeah. Heating, so the electric in this place has gone silly.
It's crazy. And so because of that, stuff like posting stuff, well, the fuel, DHL, whatever, it's all gone up. So it's a consideration when electrical devices are coming down in price.
Yeah. and think of the time as well. Your time has a value as well, doesn't it?
Yes.
So, if something's going to spend, depending on when you send it, if someone's going to spend a week in the post, that's a week, nothing's happening.
Yeah, and it might get lost or held in customs or
damaged.
Gmail has become part of the workflow.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, and it makes it better. But the thing is, like you say, to use it where you need to, and then when you need to be practical, then you are practical. But
it's not the emperor's new clothes. It doesn't fit every bill, and it doesn't fit everybody's ethos and workflow. But it's a tool to be used.
Just another tool in the toolbox.
Of course it is. And these tools get more advanced in each day, and there's stuff that, let's be honest, our industry is born from stealing stuff from other industries.
Yeah.
So this is just another one of those. This is the latest in a long line.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point. The amount of times when I'm learning, like, I don't know, when I bought my scanner, I watched videos, and you see the training videos from MindScan and how they shining, whatever it's called. You show
Shining 3D,
and it's some. It's some engineer guy showing you, and it's not a well-made video.
No,
he's not using a microphone. He's just using and it's really clunky. But you really understand how it works. But you realise that people in other industries have been doing stuff like this for years.
Yeah, reverse engineering,
and it's just fallen in our lap, and we're like, oh, how is it done? It's like, well, it's doable. But then we noticed when you got your the spider scan, book, and there was like the word texture, which means color. And we didn't know because but that's that's a good thing to know. And I had no idea. I thought, to me, texture is microscopically small forms.
Yeah,
it's not color.
Yeah,
but it is in the digital world. It's like, okay, so that means that, and then you,
or at least in the scanner world. Because in the 3D printing world, the X, Y, and Z axes are different than they are in the digital sculpting and visual effects world, where X is side to side, Y is up and down, and Z is depth.
Right.
That's why when you do a scan and you load it into ZBrush, it's never the same way you scan it.
No, it's always like arse end of nowhere.
Flipped over.
He looks drunk.
It's a good point. I thought it's just me that happens to.
No.
But it doesn't.
Because they different axes, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
It's a different language, maybe.
Yeah. Have you tried with the ZBrush on iPad yet? You got an iPad?
No.
Fair enough.
No Apple products in my house. No.
It's the only Apple product in my house because I wanted an iPad.
You see, I've been tickling with ZBrush for years, and it's only recently that I've got into it properly. I've had a copy of it for a while, and I first bought a Microsoft Surface Pro specifically for it because it was iPad size, but it's a PC, so you can run programs on it, and I stick Photoshop on it, I stuck a ZBrush on it and whatnot, and so that's what it wasn't the best computer. It was quite small, so it would crash, and it wasn't really that useful. But that was it. So, but now, good old gaming laptop, because it would feel like going backwards. Because I've still got my Microsoft Surface Pro if I needed to do little stuff, and I can't imagine it's the full program. I might be wrong. Not for me. I've got my laptop. I'm happy.
Yeah, gaming laptop's the way to go because it's that high spec you need for the 3D stuff, unfortunately.
And then there's AI. I don't know if we want to talk about that elephant in the room.
I don't know if any of us can imagine what that will really mean.
I think in terms of being able to help with production workflow and things like that. I don't think it's going to take anybody's job away.
It's a tool, isn't it? I mean, it can be quite scary, and inevitably with anything that's new, it's going to get abused, isn't it? It's going to have its boundaries pushed to see what it can and can't do. And I think after a while, I think people will realise that actually this is the best way of doing it. This is the best way of doing it. But as a tool, if it can help you,
I think if it helps you do something,
thing.
That's the thing. If it's a tool, see, I think the trouble with a lot of AI stuff, I think, is in the longer span of time, it basically removes the journey.
Yeah.
So Mid-Journey being called Mid-Journey is quite fun. But basically, if you give it some prompts and it can spit out something that's cool, you haven't enjoyed making it.
Well, the thing is, you've not enjoyed it.
No one wants to pay for that because even if it's not true, they'll imagine that it was easy for you.
Yeah.
Whereas if they've watched a sculptor sculpt, they can see that there's some skill involved.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Mid-Journey particularly, depending on what you want to use it for, if you're using it just to create art, well, it's making pretty...
I think that's a cheat and no bueno. But as an idea generator?
As an idea generator, absolutely. I agree.
I think it has great value there.
Yeah, because it's not just you using your imagination. It's all stolen from other people, don't get me wrong.
It's drawing from literally
everything else
that is on the internet.
Yeah. But the thing is, let's say you used it to create a concept, which you then presented to a director, and they said, that's great, but can we change it a little bit? You can't, can you? Because you couldn't then go back into it and say, okay, can I have this image but a little bit changed? And the computer's going to interpret it how it sees it, isn't it?
I think it's moving in that direction.
Yeah.
Now, with being able to, Stuart and I were talking about taking pictures that we took of each other and having AI create, another vision of us using those pictures, making it still us. So we could have a conversation with each other. So you can input that original design and it will use that image and tweak it just a little bit. Mid-Journey can't do it yet. You load that image in and you tell it, I want to change just this. It will give you something completely different.
That's what I mean, yeah.
But
that's the only one I've had a look at.
But I think it's heading in the right direction.
Oh, and inevitably it'll all come out eventually, won't it? I mean, the latest version of Photoshop, I think, is you can do some crazy AI stuff on that.
There's Topaz, AI photo and video, where you can go in and take a really shitty photograph.
Yeah.
That it's out of focus, and
that's like 90% of my photos.
It's insane.
Yeah.
How it can clean it up. You go, oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's weird though, but it also seems like a kind of self-defeating thing, because that would make app companies a lot of money quickly, but then after a time, what that app can do will cease to be impressive to anyone, because we'll just assume
it'll be old hat, won't it?
It'll be old hat. So it kind of
not my problem.
No, but the only people that benefit seem to be the AI companies.
Oh yeah, of course.
As some, like, if you, for example, if you were to show someone morphing on a movie, no one's going to put their dinner down and go, oh my God, I need to call someone. I've seen something on TV that stops all my tracks. That did happen when you saw Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen now.
No.
So it's kind of like
desensitized, aren't we?
You're desensitized.
Because it's normal.
Yeah. So I think what will become impressive is not your ability to produce me singing with Adele, because we'll assume, of course, there's an app that can do it. I'll make that video, I'll put it up, no one will care, because they're too busy making their own. So it's kind of like, what is it that's hard to do still is what we are impressed by. Rather than what it's not the finished thing, it's what it took to get that thing.
It's the journey, not the finish line.
Exactly. The analogy I used, we were all drunk, we were talking to that guy across the table from us, I can't remember his name, that artist guy with his daughter, Dan. I said the analogy I was saying, it's like if you've got two human beings, and one is going to run 50 miles to get to a destination. Another person gets in a car and drives to that destination. So they both traveled from one place to another. One did it much quicker in the car. The other one did it using just their legs. No one's impressed with the guy that got there by the car.
No.
But there is something quite impressive about the guy that ran. And also he has all these health benefits too, that his body is in such good condition that when he's not running, his heart rate is very low. He's got good blood pressure. He's going to be healthy, probably live longer, right? So it's not about the abilities from get one place to the other. It's the manner in which you arrived at that place, and it's hard work and the grueling self-discipline and blah, blah, blah. But the point is you benefit from being able to do that. So it's the ability to do something hard, which is the value in it, is the ability to do it. It's not just getting the end result with no effort. And I think that's what the AI is promising, or that's what people are using. And a lot of greedy people in positions where they can have apps might produce something that will get thousands of people to give them money so they can be fucking lazy and appear skilled for a bit until that becomes boring.
It is,
but that doesn't really help you. That's the point. If no one cares about the thing you did 10 years, like, do you remember the 4 pictures of me and different genders? You know, you had your photo, and if you did that now, no one would give a fuck.
Well, no,
but for a week, it was amazing.
They would applaud you for being so brave.
Yeah, and then the first thing they would do is get the app themselves, and then them do it, and it spreads like a virus. It doesn't really change anything.
Yeah. So, but it's kind of like teaching or learning as well. It's not the why you do something. Oh, sorry, it's not the how you do something. It's the why you do it.
Yeah.
So I suppose in that, it's very, very similar. I mean, if you're only ever interested in how to do something for a quick fix, as it were, how do I do this, then you've missed the point. And you've missed the ability to actually take the skill that you've acquired or to understand how you got there. You can't differentiate. You can't use it in any other environment. You can't change it in any way because you don't know what you needed to know to get there. You were results driven, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the paradox. That's the conundrum, because, you know, to learn something, you've got to push yourself outside of your comfort zone.
Of course you do.
And work. And I think if the work's being done for you with AI, you're never getting outside of your comfort zone.
No. Too cozy.
Yeah. And you may think you're outside your comfort zone. You may think you're progressing, but it's really not.
Well, it's the same as everything's going great when it's going great, and there's no pressure, there's no testing of you. But it's I suppose it's how you if you understand the ins and outs of it, if you've gone on your journey and whatnot, when the shit hits the fan, as it were, it doesn't cripple you because you've got the experience and the knowledge and the grounding behind you to work stuff out. And I suppose, as you say, if we're just going straight for the easy results and whatnot, life's going to trip you up eventually. There's going to be a situation that comes up which you're not prepared for, and you've got no way to get out of it.
Yeah, because the difficulty is always there.
If you've been training properly,
if you've got your foundation,
you can find the way out of that and not curl up in a ball and cry under the table.
Yeah, because we've sort of reached that way in a bit in the society where there's so many things that happen that we're not personally involved. Like, the analogy I like is Amish people, right? I know I have to be it, but like they are involved in every part of their life. So if they eat food, it's because they grew it and they farmed it and they killed it and they processed it. If they have a house, it's because they built it. You know, if someone dies, they all know what to do. You know, and it's a simple life. It's a much reduced, simpler life. But the point is, they're involved in everything. In this country, we had a horse meat scandal about 10 years ago where we were getting meatballs that were processed in other. It turns out that it wasn't beef, it was horse, because it was a cheaper meat and more readily available, and everyone was outraged about it. And it's like, but the chain between my plate and the field is so long, and I don't see any of it, and I couldn't tell you how any of it happens, but I expect there to be fucking meatballs every time I go shopping. So you end up being so distanced from the reality of your world that there's plenty of room for corruption to creep in. And it's good when you're sculpting or whatever, you need to know how to do these things. The danger is you end up thinking you can just wholesale do everything outside, and then, like you say, when something goes wrong, there's a power cut, or suddenly your favorite sculptor doesn't want to work for you anymore, or whatever. Suddenly it's down onto you. What can you actually do yourself? Which is why the one-man band thing is good, to slowly grow and expand rather than just think, oh, it's just, you know.
You've completely put me off of meatballs.
What's wrong with horse? It's a leaner, more nutritious meat.
It's a bit gluey.
Both things are.
It's a bit gluey. But the breadcrumb sticks really well.
But yeah, it's just, I mean, that's all sorted out. But there must be a million things like that I don't know how to make my shoes, but I expect my shoes. Do you know what I mean? There's so many things I depend on that I have no idea how they're made.
Print yourself a pair of shoes.
Yeah, but then, there's a mechanism involved in all of that. How does the electricity get to your house? It's a big... Everything. We all depend on these finely tuned things, and if they're slightly fucked, everyone goes mental because they got their internet's down for half an hour. They can't function. It's like, well, you build a fucking network then. Climb up some trees with hubcaps and build a satellite and try and make it work yourself. It's not easy, but we all depend on these things, and so I think it behooves all of us to try and expand ourselves and not just rely on things to make life easier. This has gone around a big fucking circle, but just
self-sufficiency.
Yeah, a little bit of self-sufficiency, because I think it's good to be able to do things yourself, or at least know about it or be aware of it.
Yeah. So
you can kind of be involved in the process, because, the idea of just someone, punching a bunch of, being like a prompt.
Imagine.
Yeah. And I'm sure there are people that would say that, that's a hard job, but,
those people would be wrong.
But, I'm sure. I don't know. Making pizzas is hard. It's not as hard as mining, or building a ship without power tools 400 years ago, or whatever. With your massively reduced lifespan. But you get used to whatever is around you because you forget that there's another world and another time like this. And I think that's what's nice. I've enjoyed the fact that with the digital stuff, whenever I do stamp stuff on ZBrush or I print stuff, I really notice how much time it saved me, how much quicker it was, because I know how it would have taken me to do it traditionally.
You know the other side of it, though. That's it. That's because you know the journey.
I do, but I worry that things will become so commonplace that there'll be people that won't necessarily learn how to sculpt in clay because they don't need to, because they came into a world where ZBrush already existed. Yeah. So why bother doing things in clay? I did stuff in clay because I didn't have a choice, because there wasn't a ZBrush for me when I started 30 years ago. So
there's a nice thing about working in clay, though, isn't there? I mean, there's a convenience thing about working in pixels. I mean, it's wonderful to be able to go home at the end of the day.
You don't track clay all over the house.
Yeah. And, sit at home on my sofa with a cup of coffee, especially when, like now, it's snowing, it's cold outside and stuff. Enjoy that. That's fine. However, it doesn't fit, to me, it doesn't feel like sculpting. I take pleasure out of sculpting. It's cathartic. It's therapy. It's, it's my mental well-being to sit down and lose myself for 8 hours at least. And I can just look at and just push clay around. That, to me, I will never not do that, because this isn't a case of a job or whatnot. This is a lifestyle. This is a part of who I am. This is a part of what I do, and what I do to relax myself and keep myself mentally healthy and whatnot. So ZBrush is great, but no, I wouldn't give up clay.
But that's it, because you like sculpting. It's not that I need a sculpt to exist. There you go. It's I want to make a sculpt. Kind of like dinner. Can you imagine a world where someone just puts an injection in you and gives you all your nutrition, so you don't get to eat a Sunday roast anymore, because now we can just...
We all live on army rations.
I would hate that. I like eating. It's not an inconvenience.
No, but this is what you take pleasure from. I mean, we do this as a job, so the end result is a commercial output. We have to make something, and a lot of the time we're constrained by budget and time, and it's a case of getting the job done. But... to enjoy that job, given the option, given the choice, I will integrate digital stuff into my workflow, but my workflow is very firmly set using my hands and using real clay whenever I can. However, if I've got to get something out by tomorrow, it'll be done digitally, because it's quicker. It is. It's means to an end.
It's doing it all and then picking and choosing what's necessary.
Yeah, but unless you know it, I'm not saying I know it all, but unless you have that grounding, you're educated to make the decision about what works best for you in this particular instance.
Sure.
And knowing all the factors, the factors being time, budget, requirements, and etc.
Yeah. Otherwise,
good, fast, cheap.
Yeah.
I only get two.
No, it's good to be well-rounded and trained out. Otherwise, like you say, you're a hammer looking for nails, because that's what you know, and it's like not everything's a nail.
Well, you can only react to situations, can't you? Rather than see them coming.
So on that, with Jackal,
yes,
how much of that was digital?
That was as much digital. Well, that was as digital as it was practical to do it digitally. I mean, the lovely thing about that, I was able to sort of experiment a little bit, because it's a new work. It was a new workflow to me, and I wanted to integrate as much digital as I could. And the lovely thing is, I bought my scanner for that job, because I thought, I'll start and we'll see. And it was a bit of a twitchy bum thing, because I had no idea if the scaling could be 100% until we stuck the first makeup on. I was like, oh dear, his nose is massive. No, that's as in that was his nose isn't massive, but
it could have scaled itself incorrectly.
It could have, and I wouldn't have known until I tried to stick it on. But no, it was going to be it's a makeup, so I wanted to do the makeup practically, because my skill set isn't there digitally to create something confidently. And obviously, it was a big thing. You had to be on screen at a certain time. But the background side of things, I wanted to integrate as much digital as I could. And it just so happens that my good friend Adam Edwards, he was traveling around Australia in a bus. He'd taken a year around. He was going to go exploring. And he's the most amazing digital ZBrush extraordinaire that I know. So the lovely thing is I could scan Eddie. I'd have a conversation with Adam in Australia, tell him what I wanted, in the first instance to clean the scans up, and then I could email them to him. I'd go to bed, I'd get up in the morning, and he'd done it. It was brilliant. And then I'd print the head. Now that to me was a fantastically efficient use of everybody's time. And it mean that, yes, whilst granted, if I life cast him, then I would have a plaster head out the same day. Still got to clean it up, still got to mould it before I can start sculpting. What this meant was I could have a kip, get up the next day, put my printer on, and I got out a perfectly mould-ready head. It was crazy. It was brilliant.
And you're not going to give yourself a hernia carrying it across the shop.
I'm not going to give myself a hernia. It was, and you know what? It was a beautiful thing. I mean, it's as nice as you can clean a life scan up. The digital, it was beautiful. It was a music. You know what? It looked that good, just as a live cast. Eddie saw it, and he saw it as a benefit because his character was a prosthetics design artist himself. He wanted one to put in his. Oh, I've gone out. No, he wanted one to put in his lair because to look at it, it was visually an appealing thing, which was wonderful. Whereas a live cast, just a little bit shitter. But this was. It turned into a center point in the show, which was lovely.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was great. That's cool. Now, the other thing we were able to use, or to me, was fantastic as a digital output was in the first scene, we see him in his disguise makeup, and he rocks around in this little shitty old apartment, and he faces off against the guy he's killed, who he's impersonating. So, of course, we needed a dummy. We needed a double. So what we did is we did a test makeup on him in London. We knew we had a conversation before with props and whatnot, and we knew what type of chair the guy was going to be lying when he's dead. So we got the similar type of chair. So we put Eddie in his test makeup. Before we put his wig on, before we put any of the facial hair in, we sat him in the chair with the director there and said, what pose do you want him in? And then we scanned him in that pose, with his makeup on. Then I also scanned him upright. So we had, because of course he's lying in this chair, as of course he's lying on the back of his head, he's lying on his ear, and we can't get underneath, so we lose a bit of detail on his face. We lose some area there. So the scan wasn't complete. So I scanned him, just upright, 360. Again, sent that over to Adam in the evening. He was able to then take the whole scan from just Eddie, in a prone position, take the bits that we missed when he's sat down dead in the chair, morph them together, tidy them up, and then the next day I had a full bust ready to go, which I could then print. It's of the full head. He put the ear in, sculpted the bottom side of the cheek and whatnot, made a lovely, lovely job of putting a little tongue and teeth in there as well with a little key, so you could just print those off and pop them straight in. Molded the head, quick clay pour to put some nice detail in it. Done. Fantastic. Absolutely amazing. Keyed it in so it would fit into the body. Couldn't be better. And this was all done 24 hours a day. Because of the time difference, I'd do my job in the day, send it off to Adam, go to bed, he'd do his bit, send it to me, and it was like a tag team. It was like a relay race. And it just made things fantastically efficient. And it also meant as well that between the two of us, we got pretty much the whole job done. And then, of course, I got a lovely mold maker in Tim Quinton, came in to help physically put it all together. But we made a whole body, basically, with two of us and a digital magician. But it was fantastic. I tell you as well, whereas the other side of it, the other digital side of it was because we had, I forgot about this, because we had a digital copy of Eddie Redmayne's head, I could do digital concepts. And it was very easy because we didn't really know how far we wanted to take it, as it were. So I'd do a digital concept. And what I'd do is a bit of a cheat, is that I'd go on the 3D scan store, get a head approximately the same age, and just see what it would look like if I
do that all the time.
Put that over his live cast, and just nudge it around. Nudge it to fit.
Yeah.
And obviously it goes a bit weird, but it gives you a jumping off point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so you can go, oh, okay, here we go. Send that off, and they go, oh, we like the jowls, we like the forehead, we like the crow's feet.
It's like a collage,
we don't
basically,
like this.
but in 3D.
But it is, but one that fits. Yeah. Because there's nothing worse than if you was to do a concept, or when somebody sends you a mood board, I want him to look like this. And it's a completely different face. Yeah. It's got a different structure. Yeah, yeah. And you're like, well, this isn't going to work. The eyes are different distance together, apart. The ears are different. The nose is a different length. It's too long or whatnot. And whereas this, it was a true representation of what you could physically do because you'd made it fit the anatomy underneath like a prosthetic would. That's your solid thing. And I could knock them out so quickly.
And the thing is, if you had a head that was kind of right, but it didn't look right somewhere, because you can sculpt, you just sculpt in the difference. Do you know what I mean?
This is exactly what I ended up doing, is that I got a face that was lovely, was right about the right age, about the right weathered look, as it were, and it kind of fitted. But it was pulled around that much that it looked a little bit odd. But they were going, oh yeah, this is kind of almost there. And then it just went, then you could digitally sculpt it all in. And then they went, yep, great. So then I printed that off at half scale and used that as my rough model to then sculpt it traditionally.
Yeah, you've got a reference head right in front of you.
Exactly. I can look at.
That's the beauty of it. It's awesome.
I also, as well, printed off in full scale the original head that I used as my initial model to then pull it around and whatnot, because then I had the true form as well, and also the texture. And I could judge the weight of it and things like that. So it just gave me 3-dimensional reference in twofold. One, what it should look like on Eddie's anatomy, and two, what the original one was.
Yeah.
And again, you could turn it upside down, look behind it, and all sorts. And
with one hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stick it on a pole, you can spin it around.
I mean, that level of digital competency, just as a basic thing, is a good thing to have, because, like you say, something like the 3D scan store, I've done stuff where I had to sculpt. This was a couple of years ago for a movie called Here, and there was an old sort of she was like a old dead lady, and so you want to see like details from behind the ear and the back, and so I've got heads of that sort of age, and you can look at the detail from around here. No one takes photos of these, so you'll get photos of old people, but never from some obscure angle that actually is sculpturally useful. And so even if it's just as a reference on a screen you're turning around, so you can deal with a 3D file and use it as basically a moving photograph. So you can use that like you would have done a book of old, faces as reference. It's really useful. Mm-hmm. But the nice thing about it is you are still sculpting. You're still learning. Oh, that's how the back of the neck looks. You're learning from it because it's reality captured for you to, just as if you had a real person stand there.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, that job was a bit of my toe in the water on how to get digital workflow working for me and whatnot. And of course, I learned a ton on the job. I mean, I know I hired Adam to do the digital work, but he was very generous in explaining to me how he did what he did. So I was learning that side of things at the same time. And moving forwards, if this job come about again, and we had to do the same type of thing, I mean, the whole premise was this guy was a master of disguise, and he uses extensive prosthetics to get him out of situations. And he had this secret room in his house that had all his different disguises already set up in go bags, not grow bags. He's not growing anything, ready to go. So from a props perspective, a set dressing perspective, but equally a practical, we might actually use this perspective. Wouldn't it be lovely moving forwards? Or in my head, and now I feel I could do this, competency in the software has come along, is that I'm just going to get a nice core of his nose digitally and just knock out 6 to 7 different nose types and then mold them and turn them into prosthetics molds. And even if I never use them, then there you go, set dressing. Because it's the same thing, isn't it? He needs to have these disguises. You put him in his secret lair, and all of a sudden you've got real, true, practical prosthetics that, they're not Mission Impossible. It's not made with a computer. It is made with a computer, but you know what I mean.
It feels more real.
Yeah. And I could probably do these sitting at home. Or, as it turned out, I spent an awful lot of time sat in Amsterdam airport waiting to go to Budapest because I couldn't get a direct flight from here. That was all dead time. Take my laptop now.
It was sculpted.
Yeah. Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it costs me nothing. It's time I'm being paid for anyway. But there's only a benefit there. It's efficient. I mean, I'm massively big on trying to work as efficiently as possible. I mean, as you say, I'm pretty much a one-man band and taking people as and when I can, but I always think it's important to be able to do every element yourself should you not be able to get anybody. So therefore, I'm really focused on trying to work as efficiently as possible because my time is finite. So this, to me, is quite exciting, which is why now, whilst it's quiet, over the Christmas period, I'm really going to try and knuckle down and learn some of the nuances, the finer nuances, to bring my sculpting up to where it should be in ZBrush. That'd be good.
I will get you I will share a link with you.
Yes, I want that link.
It's very exciting, all that stuff. There's things, and the thing is, you never really stop learning stuff because you just get better at it, and then you find new things you want to do. I want to conquer my fear of Z-Modeler over Christmas.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get to the bottom of that.
You see, this is the lovely
hard
thing.
surface modeling. I want to be able to extrude things, not extract, but to literally extrude and
for molding and stuff,
push and pull.
It's going to be so much better.
See, this is the nice thing about coming to it relatively late. Because, the things have been established now for quite some time by people doing what we do in our industry. So there's now people and experiences to draw from. We're not all just fighting in the dark. It's been around long enough now that, for me, it's new. I've dabbled, as I say, I've dabbled for years, but it was more of a case of just seeing what it did. I was like a kid with crayons, but now I can focus on I can see the practical benefits from it. I've kind of got enough of a knowledge to know what can be done, even if I don't know how to do it. It's anything you can learn, can't you? So but the lovely thing is as well, particularly with ZBrush, I find, you don't know what it can do until you have a problem you need to overcome with it. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to be able to do this particularly. I don't know how to do that. Go on YouTube. It can be done just because I don't know how to do it yet. And all of a sudden now I do.
Yeah.
And then I don't think it's any one of those pieces of software you'll ever know the ins and outs of it completely, but it's easy to find out what you need to do with it.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. That's a very good point. It's such a vast program. You don't need to know that much to get started. And the danger is, I think people, and I was the same, you feel like you need to know it all before you do anything. And it's not.
Yeah, and that's paralyzing.
Yeah, it is.
But you open up the brush menu for the first time, and you see.
It's overwhelming, isn't it?
Ooh.
Yeah, like you say.
How am I ever going to wrap my head around this?
But only a handful of those brushes will get you where you want to go.
Yeah. It just does things.
I remember having a conversation years ago with Dave Bonniwell, and he does the most amazing artwork in ZBrush. Most amazing artwork.
He's an incredible artist.
He's
always been good with Photoshop and just paints and canvas.
But there you go. That's because he's an artist and he's using a tool.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the tool is, the art's coming from him, isn't it?
Yeah. So the desire to create something happens first, and then you pull what you need to get that made out from.
Yeah, because he's done that journey.
Yeah.
So that validates your point made earlier. But he says he doesn't know a fat lot about ZBrush. It might have changed now because it's been years. But he was still producing amazing artwork at that stage. And he's like, I just know what I need to know to get the output I want. And in that case, I don't think he's still into printing. I don't think he's got there yet. I think it's still just a 2D medium for him.
Yep.
But he knows enough of the program to do what he wants to do. And the results are astounding, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I see some ZBrush sculptors who are using paint programs and so on and hair to get these photorealistic renderings of portraiture that they're doing and likeness sculptures, and you look at it and
Chris Costa for one.
Yeah. It's like Renaissance painting, the best you've ever seen, but it's in 3D.
Yeah. If you want one Renaissance painting, turn it 45 degrees, you got two. All the work's there.
And you don't have to make it again. It's just it's glorious. But it is. That's the thing, is to have the creative, and that's why I think that it's important to instill that with the AI. It's not a promise of just like, you become someone that can just drum up a bunch of things without any effort. It's a case of no, you are still required to put in a lot of effort.
Yeah.
People want that around. People will pay for that, because it's like anything. Like I don't know, Instagram has a bunch of filters on it. And anyone can take a reasonably good snapshot and fuck around with the filters and make it look really cool. But that's not the same as being a good photographer.
Not at all.
If you give a good photographer the same tools as anybody else has with Instagram, they'll turn out something much better.
Yeah.
Because they're already starting from a better quality. So the call to arms is to be better, to be more competent, more capable.
But the point being,
use those tools.
Take all those tools away. Take someone out of that environment where they have those tools and ask them to produce a good photo. They couldn't. Whereas someone that had spent the time learning photography, lighting and whatnot and how the camera works would. And that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about, put shit in, get shit out. Put good stuff in, get good stuff out, hopefully.
Do you want to talk a little bit about how you started out? Like where how did you get into this business?
Okay.
I was a wee lad.
I wasn't a wee lad. I got to the industry quite late. I was 29 when I started. Originally, I used to be a car salesman, selling everything: Nissan, BMW, Ford, Audi, Mitsubishi. And I genuinely thought that was going to be my life. Not anything I ever wanted to do. It's just one of those jobs you fell into. But what it did do is, I'd always been a massive Monster Kid fan. And
did you sculpt when you were younger?
No, I didn't sculpt when I was younger. I used to do model kits.
Okay.
I used to buy the little 1/6 scaled Horizon muzzle kits and whatnot, and I used to enjoy building and painting those, and that was my creative flex. I'd always painted, as in 2D painting, always drawn, always been interested in art, and always loved movies. But when I was a kid, it was American. That's where the industry was. We didn't really have an industry in the UK. That was just because I didn't know, before the internet. And so I found myself being a car salesman. But what it did afford me is that because you'd work the weekends, you'd have a day off in the week. And then, of course, in the week, all your mates are working. So I got particularly bored. So then I'd pick up painting again, and I'd pick up model kits. And then I thought to myself, I'm spending a lot of money on these kits that I'm actually not doing anything with. Then I thought, well, maybe I can make something myself. And then I started getting a bit more creative, sculpting and whatnot. And I was like, well, I really did enjoy makeup stuff. So I thought, then I'll try and get into that. And then the internet took off more than what it was, and more than what it was back then. And, it was back in the days of forums. So you'd have the Effects Lab, Millennium.
The Effects Lab was great.
The Effects Lab, Millennium Effects had a forum as well. And all of a sudden you was exposed to professionals, people that did this as an industry in the UK as well. And there was a wealth of information there, and they'd talk to you. It doesn't matter where you come from, they'd talk to you. And that's the thing I've always found in this industry is that it doesn't matter where you come from. If you've got the respect and if you've got the drive, people will help you. That's always been the way. So anyway, I started dabbling on my days off, started sticking shit on my mates. I remember my first prosthetic was a straight A and B, really crude looking werewolfy thing that one of my friends volunteered for me to stick on, and I bought myself a bottle of glue thinking, oh, it's glue, it's not that strong, didn't bother with any remover. And the next day he had an interview and he couldn't get it off properly, so he had to shave his face to try and get the residual glue off. So that was quite fun. But anyway,
are you still friends?
Yeah, actually, crazy man. But yeah, so anyway, long story short, as I started really enjoying this and whatnot, the light bulb came, well, maybe you could try and do this as a job. And it just so happened that I booked myself on a Jordu Shell mask making course down at Millennium Effects. And
what year would that have been? Do you remember?
Oh God, it's 2008.
I think it might have been a Millennium.
I was there then.
Possible. You were there.
I was there.
No, you were there. I'll tell you for why. And the first book had just come out.
Yep.
Because you came through to help us mix the plaster. And you said to, and I'll never forget this, you said to me, oh, nice sculpt. And I turned around and said, oh, nice book. And I thought, that's me really slick. And you were like, oh, thanks. Who's this guy? And so
look at him now.
I remember that. But my point for going is, one, I wanted to meet Jordu and I wanted to be in that environment, but I also wanted to basically sneak over next door to Millennium and actually have a look and see if this would be a viable career, as it were. It was kind of like, I'll pay to go on this course and have a look. And I did that course and I went through and I made myself up a little portfolio, and I managed to collar Neil at Millennium, and he very graciously had a look and obviously tore it to shreds.
But he did it in a very nice way.
No, he didn't. And so anyway, I left, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, this is a world I could see myself in. And then I got home and obviously got the blues because it had been this amazing creative experience, and all of a sudden I've got to go and bloody drive around looking at Ford dealers and all this rubbish. So I thought I'll book on another course, get my fix. And it just so happened I looked and they were advertising a 6-month skill set apprenticeship. So I discussed it with the wife. And I was like, what do you reckon? She's like, well, there's no money. I said, well, yeah, but I'm not happy. So in it to win it type thing. So I did it, applied, and very fortunately got it. So I quit my job, which was a big risk, living up here in Birmingham as well, a nice, safe, secure job. Went and drove down to Millennium in Chesham, back and forth every day, 180 miles every day for 6 months. Well, it was cheaper than trying to get a hotel because the money was shocking, but being an apprenticeship, you expect it. That was it. Never looked back. 6 months guaranteed, doing wonderful stuff. I say it was wonderful stuff. My stuff was rubbish, but they trusted me to do stuff and work on Doctor Who and the various spin-offs and whatnot. And we did a couple of low-budget movies, which they let me have a good go at and stuff. And, just being in that environment and then being surrounded by the likes of Dave Bonnywell, Gary Pollard, Dave Malinowski was in there painting as well, Ian Morse. You just learned so much so quickly. And then the apprenticeship ended and you had to leave because that was the deal, because it was all about of training someone up and then letting them get work elsewhere. So then that was quite panicking. But I managed to scrounge a little bit at work. I think it was at Schooner Heads. And then went back to Millennium. And then that was it, really. I was a freelancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've grown so quick. It just seemed like you were designed to do this. This is what you should be doing.
I love my job. I love this industry. You know what I mean? There's stresses and there's times where you kick yourself and stuff, but the be all and end all of it is we're in a privileged industry.
Oh yeah, we've playing make believe for a living.
Oh yeah,
how cool is that?
Yeah, I remember saying to Neil on my interview, because the interview itself was quite fun because I trekked down to Millennium and they'd just been broken into. So Rob, bless him, was nailing plywood to the door, looked thoroughly annoyed. And I'm like, I'm here from an interview, all jovial and whatnot. And he sort of growled at me. I thought, this is going well. And I sat down with Neil and he was like, why do you want to do this? I said, if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. And he just looked at me deadpan and he says, you bloody do. I don't think he would use the word bloody, but you get the idea. And it was good. Very fortunate. A lot of applicants, and me and a guy called Stuart Simonaski got it. And we had the best 6 months. It's brilliant.
Awesome.
Yeah. But this is a great industry.
It is. But you also have a very matter-of-fact attitude about a lot of things, which I think is a very useful thing. It might be because you had a big chunk of your adult life not doing the creative work.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people get paralyzed because they love what they do and they like to be creative, but there's also a part of them that they're people pleasers. I find a lot of people that do this stuff, that knew they wanted to do stuff a long time, they're quite sensitive. They're not very well business minded, and they're I don't want to say easy to manipulate, but you will find a lot of people that have been pushed around by producers who are designed to find basically weak people that will say yes to things that they would probably be better off saying no to.
Yeah, and then just churning through those types of people.
Yeah, just rinsing people out. And it seems to me you've always had a very clear idea about what's, like, if it's not worth doing. You not in a mean way, but you're very like pragmatic about what does or doesn't happen. That's going to take too long. That's not worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's held you in very good stead. And I've taken that as an example in my head often. I'll find myself in Lynn and I'm thinking, what would Richard do?
Well, don't ever think that. Maybe it is. I mean, when you sell, selling cars is easy, let's be honest. But at the same time, you do come into people, especially when you sell BMWs. And I might insult people here, but you tend to find that somebody that buys one of those knows what they want, and they'll hammer you to get it, as it were. So you do develop a relatively thick skin and learn how to negotiate. And essentially, you got to learn your value. You got to know your worth, because you're not there to be stepped on. And don't get me wrong, I was doing that when I was in my 20s, so my early 20s. So it does sort of make you have a little bit of a backbone, I guess. And the problem is not the problem, but you find that if you've only ever done this job, you've come at, especially these days now that you can go through school, college, university, and whatnot, and there's all these qualifications and there's all these courses that are allegedly there to prepare you for this world, but they don't teach you the business side of things, and therefore people are desperate for work and they'll climb over each other to get a job and whatnot, and that's not necessarily the best thing and stuff. So I do believe that coming to it later, as it afforded me to have a rounder image of what business looks like, and therefore you get to sort of understand the other side of it a little bit more rather than being
caught in the headlights though.
Yeah, pretty much. And they do say, artists don't make great business people. And I suppose if you're a creative person, you just want to create. That's all you want to do. So if someone's offering you a little bit of money to be able to do that, you can jump at it. But at the same time, you got to go, well, actually, I'm a skilled person here. This is skilled work.
It took me years to learn how to do this.
Yeah. I mean, you have to think of yourself like a plumber in some respects. If a plumber comes around your house, he'll tell you how much it's going to cost you. And you either pay it or you don't, and they don't do it. You don't have someone come around your house, a tradesperson, you go, okay, well, I want this doing and I'm going to pay you this much. I'll go, well, no, it's going to cost you this much. And I think sometimes we lose that. We lose our own value. We don't work out how long things time, what our time is worth. We just want to create, and that's our passion and whatnot. And unfortunately, as you say, that can be abused. It's a tricky one.
That was a fucking gold dust bit of moment on that.
Oh, sorry, mate.
No,
I mean, great.
Brilliant. Yeah. That was really good. That was really good. Because I see that a lot in colleges, and I think the other issue is,
well, they don't teach you how to budget, how to bid for a job.
No.
Well, they don't. Well, some courses do, but
well, we've covered it very clearly.
We did a big thing on it with an episode and show notes. But the other thing is as well, and I say this as someone that teaches at makeup schools, but there isn't really like a triaging of who goes to join the makeup school. But you'll get people going on a makeup course because it sounds like an easy option. Because they said, Trisha, you're going to do something, get out of the house, right?
Or I'm on a makeup course because I like movies.
Yeah.
I had animation students in a drawing class that wanted to be an animator because they like cartoons.
And that's not a bad thing, but you've got to understand it's
watching a cartoon and being an animator are not the same thing. Just like eating a meal and being a chef are not the same thing.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But
you might enjoy what's on your plate. Depends who's put it there.
Yeah. And when I'm saying with the student thing, it's kind of like, what I mean is you don't tend to get people join the SAS or become lawyers because they thought it was easy. That's why they're there. But you do get people going on makeup courses who are there because the other stuff sounded difficult. So there's a percentage of people on those courses that are there because they were looking for or hoping for an easier ride. And so the people that are going to work hard and try hard and think hard are going to be it. So my point is, I think you get a disproportionate amount of emotionally fragile people doing creative things, which means there's a disproportionate amount of people who aren't business minded who are also creative. So you're going to find, and I may be wrong, but there's plenty of makeup people I know who they've been taken for a ride by people because they could spot that they would agree to things that they probably should say no to.
Absolutely.
Because they don't know their worth or they have a low self-esteem. And we need to work on that as a society and build people up.
The thing is, saying no to something is not a bad thing. I mean, if you asked me to do something and it was inconvenient to me to do it, I'd have no issue saying no to it. I'd do it politely and I'd explain why I couldn't do it. But if you then took offense to that, then that's your problem, not mine. You know what I mean? Because I'm perfectly entitled to not do it.
Yes, because you can justify your reasons.
Exactly.
You can't justify why you're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me to help you, obviously I'll bend over backwards to help you. But, if somebody asks you to do something, well, yeah, but these are my terms. These are my conditions. This is what I need to be able to have for me to do this for you. And in, job-wise, I've got bills to pay. I've got a mortgage to pay. I've got a kid to raise. I've got a wife. Thankfully, she earns her own money. But, these are all my lifestyle. I've got a workshop to pay for. I've got materials to pay for. I've got rates. I've got electric. I've got consumables. All these things cost money. And unless you're not going to compensate me for that, then what you're asking me to do is give you charity. It's not business.
Yeah.
No is not a bad word. Telling someone how you say it, that's the trick, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're saying, I will do it for you, but I'm worth more than what you're offering.
Yeah, it's having that belief that you are correct to say so. But like you say, wording it correctly, but it's down to self-belief.
And I get it. I totally understand because, when you're starting out, you don't necessarily know what you're worth. But it's not for somebody else to tell you.